Okay, so whenever you're ready, Danny.
Yes, thanks, Guille and Mappy, and thanks everyone for joining. I saw Jens is in Hong Kong, so I do appreciate that. But yeah, great to meet everyone. Big fan of what you guys are doing with Startup Grind. I've been following in a few ways and working with Guille, with Shahar, now with Mappy, fellow Ecuadorians as well. I'm from Ecuador, sharing my profile here as well. But yeah, thanks for having me. I'm going to share a presentation soon, but I don't want to make this too formal or too boring, but rather valuable, insightful. I'll also try to leave time for Q&A, so make sure to ask any LinkedIn related questions. I'll do my best to tackle those, usually my favorite part. And yeah, hopefully this will be helpful. Quick context, I'm part of the LinkedIn community team here in the UK, supporting different people, companies, CEOs, different entities on the platform. I always like to say that LinkedIn is changing. Much more people are using the platform to connect, to share content, to learn, whereas in the past, at least me, uh, I was only using LinkedIn when you were looking for a new job. And I think that's not the case anymore. So I see people in the subway using LinkedIn, my wife using LinkedIn like it's TikTok. So yeah, a lot more happening. And I think a lot of that is based on what my team has been doing or really changing the ecosystem, bringing new voices, improving the content. Now there's athletes, there's Snoop Dogg as an example. I think Snoop Dogg would have never joined 5 years ago. So just to show how the platform is changing. And I think, and most of you, of course, are already doing it in some capacity, it's a really good platform to showcase who you are, what you're doing as a person, as a personal brand, but also for, for Startup Grind, for your local chapters. And content is really driving all sorts of opportunities. Yeah, Cody Gakpo, actually, I've been kind of supporting him. So that's really cool that you saw that, Katie. Well, mostly his agency, but yeah, he's doing well. So yeah, that's my context, and I'm gonna share a few slides. Feel free to stop me. And as mentioned, I'm not gonna be too formal here. Let me 1 second find this.
Should be right in the middle. Okay.
Let me know if you can see it,
Yeah,
Guille.
perfect. Yeah, looks great.
And again, I'll try to only focus on the most relevant slides, and hopefully this helps. Quick agenda. Also, quick snapshot of, I guess, what's happening on LinkedIn. We just crossed the 1 billion member threshold, which is, of course, a pretty big milestone for LinkedIn. As I mentioned, I think LinkedIn has great momentum. It's a cooler brand. That was not the case again a few years ago. I've been feeling it, and more people are basically waking up to the power of LinkedIn. I also tell a lot of people that are like hesitant to start posting that LinkedIn is the place where you can actually reach and talk and connect with, the people with the budgets, with the decision makers, with the CEOs that are not on TikTok, are not on Instagram. So LinkedIn is, of course, the platform to advance your careers and to open opportunities, and that's actually LinkedIn's mission. So yeah, very important in the sense of how are we different from other of the bigger platforms. Um, Quickly on what we call optimize your profile or rock your profile, not a huge focus of my side, but always important to give a few pointers. I think most of you have a great profile, and honestly, I don't think there's too much to a profile in a good way, but make sure the basics are in place. I always say that. And by that, I mean the profile photo, the cover photo, the quality of the pictures, the colors are good. Sometimes I go to profiles, even if it's like a big CEO or someone famous, and you don't have these, they don't have pictures or they're bad pictures, all pictures, you cannot neglect the profile. So make sure that you don't need to be the most serious. LinkedIn is not the most serious place anymore, but be you. Uh, Make sure the about section or your headline is up to date. Make sure you use this space. It's really good real estate to showcase who you are. I think we're much more than just, CMOs. We are mothers, we're parents, we're fathers, we have hobbies, we are community builders. Showcase who you are. Talk authentically. Don't talk in third person. There's room for humor if that's you. I think my about section at some point was I support CEOs during the day and change diapers during the night, because when I did that, I had just become a dad, so it was the truth and it was me and it was relevant. just to showcase a bit about the profile. And of course, other components play with our experience, summary, feature media, all of that good stuff. But again, the big main part of the profile is what I covered. But more importantly, there's a misconception, and I had it as well, that the success on LinkedIn is based on the profile itself, where I think that's just a small part of LinkedIn. And it's a good segue that people are going to find you and going to go to your profile based on what you do in the ecosystem as a whole. So people don't go usually to profiles, or not many people. So you need to be active, right? This question also I get a lot, like why anyone should be active on LinkedIn? What's the point? I think most of you get it. But I think sharing and showing up on LinkedIn really ticks a lot of boxes. Some being, market consideration. Why should people listen to you as an individual or as a chapter, as a community, as a company? It's a great place to showcase who you are. Why are you different than other communities, other chapters, other companies? The why behind you. You are all, brand builders of Startup Grind, of other companies you work with, and also for you. A great place, of course, to connect with potential, partners, sponsors, clients, leads, future employees, recruiters. This is the place where you can really impact all of those people at the same time. Great place to attract talent if you're hiring. A lot of people I work with and speak to, a lot of their decisions are based on what people in other companies are doing, saying. They show that's how you can show the culture and how you think. So again, you can really do this at the same time only on LinkedIn, I would say. This post from Ash, someone I know here in the UK, he helps a lot of big names develop their personal brands. Just will let you read, but I think he really nails what I just said. Kind of the framing here is really strong, and I really believe this. If personal brand isn't on your board or leadership team, you're leaving growth, opportunity, and revenue on the table. So it's not just now doing it for, as an ego thing or to, promoting what you do. It's really a strategic channel, as I said, for clients, customers, talents, investors, media, all of the above. So the risk is not what you say on LinkedIn anymore. I think the risk is like not doing it, and I think that's really changing. This slide, I really like it. It's a bit silly, but it really kind of shows what we're trying to achieve on LinkedIn, especially as my team. Kind of why are we different from other platforms? And I think you get the idea. It's more about adding value, about adding your expertise, about any industry. It doesn't need to be about shoes. But it's about quality. It's about really making sure you position yourself as an expert in any space, in any niche. And I think that's the beauty of LinkedIn. It's for everyone. So a classic example here that I think we've all done, or we're all guilty, or we've seen it, is classic LinkedIn post. I attended this event. Thanks for having me, with an image, right? Let's say Guille does a post about this. And I don't know Guille, and I don't know Startup Grind. It doesn't really tell me anything. I wouldn't really even engage. It doesn't add value basically to me. But again, going back to this mindset, just a few tweaks to that post, meaning Guille can share what he learned at that event, what were some takeaways, what did he change his mind about, or even more smart, he can say how he prepared before going to the event to network or to get people to, to meet with him 5 minutes. Just some unique insights, some tips to make it more valuable to anyone. So I think it's how you approach the platform. It's kind of what I'm trying to say. And also we're trying to make LinkedIn a place where more knowledge is being shared. Whereas in the past, most of the content was, I got hired, I got promoted, which you have to do. I recommend people to do it. I also do it. You have to play the game. You want to do that, but not only that. That's kind of my main takeaway. We also know people still think the content is not good enough. So there's huge appetite from our members to hear from all of you who are professionals, who are experts, or people want to hear from you. You're in a very unique position. Again, to put Guille on the spot, and not as a criticism. I think Guille has a lot of followers. He does it well. But I think if Guille, as an example, starts sharing more about how he builds community, how he runs events, how he manages to close sponsorships, all of the things he does, because I've seen it, sharing those insights will only allow him to keep growing and to bring, visibility to Startup Grind. So showcasing all of the expertise he's doing. I think that's the way to approach LinkedIn. In terms of creating content, some big pillars, a bit generic, but I think it is important to be consistent. That doesn't mean you need to post every day, but I think most algorithms really reward consistency. But for me, more importantly, is do what works for you. And if you're posting once every 2 months and you start posting once a month, that's already a big win. And you can start improving based on what you're doing on your journey. So it doesn't mean to post every day or go from 0 to 100. It's just trying to do it more, dedicate some time, prioritize it, because you really will see the benefit. Give context, as I mentioned, super important. Give your perspective, your opinion. Something that really helped me to come up with more content is I thought I had to come up with the most original ideas or concepts to share content on LinkedIn, but that's not the case. Whereas you can just be reactive, or what I call, hijack the news. Talk about something that's happening in your space, in any space, community, finance, tech, AI, something that's happening on the news, something you saw, something you read, and just give your perspective. Instead of just sharing an article, share that article, but say, hey, I agree, I disagree. This is what I think is going to happen. And just, that will allow you to really come up with more content ideas and to position yourself as an expert in your world, which is what you want to do on LinkedIn. Also, how to create a great post. There's no secret formula, no hacks. People think like we have the secret magic wand, but that's not the case. I think it's a long-term game. There's no shortcuts if you want to do this properly. But of course, there's best practices. One is to have what we call an opening, a scroll stopper, a good first line that catches people's attention. Maybe, like a quote, a stat, something that's not obvious. The format, an image, maybe emojis if done properly, breaking the text up a bit, so not a huge block of text. Just giving people more chance to even read what you said or watch your video. It's important. Like you read an article, right? You need a good headline. That doesn't mean you have to lie or be clickbaity, but you can try to really sell it better. It's super important. There's so much noise and fight for attention, so you want to dedicate some time to that. More importantly, again, for me today, make sure you leave something to your audience, that you share something people don't know. I see a lot of content that it's too generic, right? Like, hey, if you wake up at 4 a.m., you're going to be able to do more. Like, of course, right? Like, tell me something that it's a bit more non-obvious. That's how I try to approach content and add my unique spin. And that's the content that it's working. Always best practice to invite people to the conversation, ask questions. A lot of the magic happens in the comments. I actually recommend any of you here who has never posted, which is normal, by the way. The best way to build that habit and remove that friction is start leaving comments on people's posts. I think that's a really strong strategy. A few examples here, just of the experts and creators that we work that I think are just good to show. This from Brendan, a great creator, economy expert in the US. I like it that he shared an article here. As you can see from Business Insider, people think, as I said before, you shouldn't share articles, that they don't get rewarded. But I think the key here is that Brendan shared a lot of context besides the article, right? He added a hook, he shared the why, he added some data, some insights, a quote from the article. It's a really strong standalone post with great engagement, and he's a really, really good voice in that space. Definitely recommend you to check him out. Arianna Huffington, bigger name. I love what she did here. She did a poll, which LinkedIn, allows you to do. But not only a poll, she really made also a post on top of that about data, about why she thinks this is an important topic, a link to a specific study. Just a very strong post with unique perspectives and takeaways. And I think that's the key, again, going back to LinkedIn. Video, super fast on that. We are seeing a lot more happening on video. LinkedIn is finally prioritizing video in a way. It took us a while, but there's a few more channels now, especially in the US. There's a video tab, which might be coming to other countries. But regardless, in the feed itself, video is doing well. It's a hard format. I struggle, but I'm trying to do more. Video, as you know, is the present, the future, and people are really, putting themselves out there. You don't need a studio, you don't need production. Just, again, do what I'm saying today, but within video. Top voices, I can go more over that, but that's something my team does. A bit more about my team. Maybe this will help you, something I would love to do with some of you. get involved with some of the things we're doing on LinkedIn, and maybe so it can allow us to amplify or feature you in some of our different channels. But LinkedIn News or LinkedIn Editorial, it's a very global team that not many people are aware of. We are present in many countries. We cover things in local languages. So you might have seen some of our different, channels, but this is our mission. We're basically on the back enabling different experts to create content. We're extracting knowledge in a good way, and we're curating, cultivating, creating community, and also distributing content to maybe match the right content to the right audiences. So we have a lot of different infrastructure as well. One quick example to bring all of this together is one of our channels is called Storylines. You might have seen it on the desktop, called LinkedIn News. In most countries, I don't know if in Ecuador, for example, we have this, but let's say in the States or in most European countries, you might have seen this. And it's basically some of the stories we cover every day as an editorial team, and just sharing this because this is one of the ways you can get involved. If you see a story that resonates with you, that you think you have something to add to the conversation, we create stories about all sorts of topics. You can then create a post. We can find the right dynamic. Maybe you can flag it to me, or I can connect you to the local editorial teams, and then we can potentially feature that post in this storyline, as seen here with this example about the CEO priorities. So just this is one of the channels and levers we have at our disposal. We also have a lot of notifications that we do on a day-to-day around breaking news, maybe more relevant to public companies, or we're also spotlighting different posts that goes to different audiences. Just some of the capabilities we have as an editorial team. I wanted to take 20 minutes, which was perfect. Want to open up for questions. But again, my most important takeaway is that, and going back to Guille, because it's the one that I've been seeing, so much potential to stand out, to showcase what you guys are doing for Startup Grind. You're doing so many things, so many events. You're connecting, you're working with so many people, with founders, with startups. It's a great way to showcase that, but also to get in front of potential new community members, investors, sponsors. And I think you guys are not doing this enough. So yeah, that's a bit where I'm coming from, and hopefully this was somewhat useful.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm gonna be adding everyone as a presenter so they can tune in with their video, with their mics, and be part of the Q&A. Before we go into the Q&A, I just want to mention this. Like, most of the chapter directors, they're like hitting over 10,000 followers. It is crazy. I think Shahar has like 18, maybe more, 18,000. And like, if you go to...
We forget how big that is, right?
It is way too much. I mean, like, even in my case, when I reached like 10,000 followers on LinkedIn, I was able to tap into anyone within the platform. So let's say if I wanted to reach out to, I'm just gonna, I don't know, let's say Jeff Bezos, he would actually reply because I had over 10,000 followers, and that was crazy. So I mean, Shahar has all the power now because he's so big on LinkedIn.
I think it's also the type of friends you confirm and followers. The difference between friends, the tier 1. I can give you a tip. I'm part of as a user of LinkedIn. I think from the first days, I never confirmed any friend request that is coming from people that I know. They are just getting in or bringing me in or my network just because they need it for their work. For example, if we are working in Startup Grind with startups and investors and sponsors, those are the people that I'm willing to add. So early stage startups, investors, people from the local government, or people that are decision makers in big companies, that's okay. But I'm getting 300 to 400 requests per year from HR, and I'm not seeking for a job, and I don't want them to use my profile. And this is why I think also the influencers and the content that we will get will be depends of our friends. So I'm getting all the news from Silicon Valley because we have friends from Silicon Valley in the tech sector. So we are getting also the information we're willing to see. So I'm spending most of my day on LinkedIn right now because most of my friends sharing their information there.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, and that's a big change of what's happening in the platform. There's more content, there's more insights, there's more news, there's more diverse voices, which was not the case before. And also before the questions, if someone wants to share, also invite you to put you on the spot. Any post you've written, maybe we can review it together. It's always a good exercise for me to add my opinion, my feedback. Of course, I don't have all the answers, but it's always a good exercise if you think it's relevant.
But by the way, another new thing from LinkedIn, I saw that some startups that are scaling like crazy right now, they are asking to share a post about your experience in their product on LinkedIn, and it always was on Instagram or Facebook or other social networks. But now they ask to open a ticket and to share the link for LinkedIn post, and they will give you credit to use the AI tools. For example, they are using this right now to get, instead of like Uber, when they shared with you, they give you an affiliate link and they gave you $30, I don't know, free ride. Now they are giving you credit for a post on LinkedIn. So it's great to see that they understand the value of those posts.
That's a great comment, Shahar. And yeah, something that Daniel just mentioned, like if you want to share your screen, I mean, you're able to do so. And we actually have a question from Solange. Solange, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, thank you. Nice session, Daniel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate, really needed for the directors. I have a question regarding the AI content. I see a lot of content. I mean, people that are consistently, posting, but the content it might not seem as authentic. So what are your recommendations regarding using AI? And yeah, that's
Yeah, no, good
my
question. A few things I would say about this. First, I think I've been noticing as well more AI, like content that it's clear it's mostly used by AI. I don't think it's a LinkedIn problem. I think it's an industry problem, but it's definitely something that should be tackled at some point by LinkedIn. Like I don't think at the moment, I know there's conversations not in my side of LinkedIn, but I would also love to see how are we going to tackle this issue that can become an issue, right? But to your question, like, yeah, I think AI is here to stay. We all know this. I think it shouldn't replace what we're doing, but complement it. So I use it to create content, but you have to make sure, I think, that you're also complementing it with your own ideas, your own takeaways, your own style, and not just copy pasting. At least that's what I try to do, because I think it shows off. People are gonna start noticing more and more. But as an algorithm, I would love to understand at some point, and I'm not an expert. How is the algorithm gonna evaluate this? Gonna understand? So that's, I think, a bigger conversation. But definitely AI is. It's here, right? So it's an interesting challenge.
We also have a question from Franklin. Would you like to jump in, my friend?
Oh. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, thank you guys for this event. I really learned a lot. So I want to ask for is, I think I've followed the speaker before, so the speaker needs to follow me back on LinkedIn. That is one. Secondly, is it possible to host you for our own startup founders here in Aberdeen, if possible?
Host me?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, let's speak. No promises because it doesn't depend always on me, but let's definitely connect. I'm always open to explore different things, and I appreciate the invitation, and we'd love to see what we can do.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will link up with G so that we can get it to Aberdeen. No worries.
Perfect.
Oh, that could be really cool. Yeah. I mean, Franklin is based in Aberdeen in the UK, so I think that's close by to you.
Yeah, that's not too far.
Awesome. Okay, so now we have a question from Nicole. Would you like to jump in?
Hi, thank you. So I've been using LinkedIn like for decades, and a lot of the stuff that I've worked on are where organizations want to empower their networks to use, their less experienced people to use LinkedIn, and maybe they're not great content creators, and maybe they don't have hours to sit online doing a lot of the manual tasks. What is the real story on automation? Because I know it's technically against the terms and conditions, but like I'm seeing tons of people using automation right now.
And by automation, what sort of automation are you mostly referring to?
Finding people, visiting your profile, connecting, sending follow-up messages within 30 seconds of making a connection request.
Got it.
AI generated messages, right? Like,
yeah, now I've seen it as well, and yeah, it definitely from or more official capacity, from what I heard, but again, it's not something I deal too much with. Yeah, LinkedIn doesn't encourage directly the use of any third-party tools. People, of course, still do it. I think every once in a while you might get, there are some repercussions. I've heard of accounts get suspended. Depends on, I don't know, the specific case. But yeah, once a platform starts growing, there's always going to be people building on top of it. There's so many tools that are useful as well. But LinkedIn doesn't encourage anything directly. But yeah, it's always a tricky one because also LinkedIn doesn't provide all the capabilities that maybe we should have. But I would say some tools are safer than others. Like, for example, I know LinkedIn specifically doesn't allow, this is just less an automation, but like if you send 200 friends requests, you might get, or you use some sort of tool to scale your connections, you might get suspended because LinkedIn will probably flag this as something suspicious is happening. Whereas maybe you use a tool to send a few messages, as you said, for lead generation, or I don't know. I think there's things that are going to put you more in trouble than others. But it is true the fact that LinkedIn doesn't, in theory, support these automations. But I don't know what happens behind doors.
Yeah, thank you for that perspective.
Yeah, actually, I think I get at least 2 automated messages every day. At least could be
the DMs.
Yeah, it could be even 10 or 20 depending on the day. And it's so crazy because, as Nicole mentioned, I mean, it's automated. Oh, it's hi, fill blank with your name, and then thank you so much for being part of this industry. Then again, fill blank. And
yeah,
it's so annoying. And now I get to see
the DMs can definitely be improved, the whole experience.
And now I get to see this through the comments as well. And
yeah,
I think they're created with AI now, so they feel a little bit more real, but at the same time they're not. So
yeah, listen, it's I wish I would say that LinkedIn it's an exception. I think in general it's a more safe platform, but these things happen, in all platforms. When you have 1 billion people, there's always going to be, but yeah, it's just the nature of the internet, and bots, AI, automations. It's the bad part about it. I would say in LinkedIn, I see it less than, let's say, X or Instagram. But, as with everything, it's hard to, things fall into the cracks.
And I would hope that LinkedIn would also see that this is obviously a need from the community, right? Like, people are saying, hey, the pull through from LinkedIn, if you look at the numbers of building a network, we need ways to reach out to many in a way where we can build our networks based on common interests or likes, or we're all from Startup Grind, or we're all in the startup community. Like, there's a need in this in the community. And if LinkedIn doesn't want you using these other tools that maybe dampen the experience, then provide us with something better, right? Like, provide us with something better.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with that. So yeah, great feedback.
You have a question from Shahar?
Yeah, I'm trying. Big communities like Startup Grind has many chapter directors around the world using their profiles. You asked us 2 years ago to start using your event page, and I think maybe to talk about integration, if you have a platform to manage community, and we are managing some of our events, and we can do some things automatically, this will be great. I can tell you that here in our community, people help me to use your event invitation because it's manually one by one, tier 1 friends. And what a developer has helped me to do is to react like a manual, it's semi-automation, but it's like acting like manual process. But it helped me to search and invite 100 people in one click instead of going one by one. So basically what Nicole said, yes, I don't think that I need to develop tools to help me as a community manager. So I want to say that some things you can consider is also integration with some big groups. Okay, not one by one, and to add integration or open APIs to all, but such as an agreement with companies that has platforms like Bevy in our case. We can connect some features like event invitation, links, the tickets, some analytics. I think it will help us to use more LinkedIn and to invite more stealth mode startup founders that we don't know yet. And I can tell you from the COVID time, I think we are missing those who are building startups at home in their garage, and they are not part of the community. And in my case, I think I missed, 2,000 to 4,000 founders that are building companies, and they are around, but they don't know and they cannot get to our ecosystem because we are using our platform. And the double opt-in is very important for both of us. So if we can integrate somehow the event space, the invitation part, I think it will be a great opportunity to see more chapter directors and more content from Startup Grind all around the world.
Yeah, just quickly on that, of course, nothing to do with me. It's good feedback to pass along, but so many things that LinkedIn can improve. My team is focused more on the editorial content side. Maybe will be worth checking me connecting the dots and see if I can have someone hear all of this out, because it has nothing to do with my side of LinkedIn. These big companies, hard to navigate, but yeah, there's so many things to improve on LinkedIn, so it's just normal, right? But
no pressure. Yeah. Take 2 weeks for that. It's okay.
Great comment, Shahar. Okay, we have a question from Jans. Would you like to jump in, my friend? We cannot hear you. No. You are on mute. Can you try again?
Oh, better?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so there are always these discussions going on. What is the best way of, are you allowed in a post, or allowed, but is it good to link to an event in the actual post? Or should you put the link to the event as the first comment under the post in order to not hurt the post, etc.? And those, I fully understand it's hard to know how the algorithm works, but kind of what are the best practices? Should we put the link to the event in the post, or what is best to do so that it gets both the audience, but at the same time also makes it easier for people?
Yeah, good question, because it is there is this feeling, and I think it's normal, that linking to outside of LinkedIn or third-party links can harm the reach and engagement. Officially, that I've been told that that's not the case, but I think there is something to it. But to your question of adding a link to the post, I think it's a matter of preference. I think I usually add it in the post itself because I think it gets more visibility, especially if it's an important link, like in this case, the event. That's what you're trying to promote and raise awareness to. Whereas in the comments, maybe less people see it. But in terms of like the algorithm, it's such a subjective, it's not black and white. So I wouldn't overthink it. Likewise, I think I see people sometimes talking about an article and not putting the link to the article because they might think that the reach might be affected. But thinking about the user experience, you have to share the article, the link, because you're talking about the article. What if someone wants to go and read the full piece? It's like a bit, I wouldn't approach LinkedIn, and I'm not saying that's how you do it. People are like, how can I hack the algorithm? How can I trying to optimize everything for the algorithm, as opposed to like, I always tell people, just share the best idea, the best context, the best post you have, and the other things will fall into place. But I think it's an important question.
Okay, great. Daniel, what would be like your best like tips and tricks for all of us here, chapter directors, running multiple events every month, and just like trying to grow our network so we are able to get more attendees and community members, sponsors, partners to be part of our efforts?
Yeah, I think, and it sounds easier said than done. It's a long-term game. But one of the things I've seen with a lot of people in this space is like most of the content I see, let's say, if you, for example, Guille, again, putting you on the spot, and I'm not saying this is the case, if all of the content I see is you sharing events, right, or promoting the events, at some point I'm going to be like, okay, I don't want to keep seeing this, right? Whereas if you start talking, let's say the events are around, startups and founders and VCs, like the whole ecosystem, right? If 80% of your content is around, you actually sharing your knowledge, your insights about what's happening in the startups, forget about Startup Grind, forget about the events in general, about what's happening in the industry. What tech are you think it's catching your attention? Some stories behind those posts. And then I find it interesting. I start engaging, and then I see an event coming your way. The chance for me to engage and join that event is going to exponentially be higher than if I just see your post with the events. Sounds obvious, but that's how things work, right? So I would say focus on adding content. Don't promote anything. I think the best way to promote Guille, the best way to promote your chapter, the best way to promote Startup Grind is by being non-promotional. I'm a real believer on that. That's how you build trust. That's how you can build affinity. And then whenever you want to promote something, sell something, it's going to work better. So that's my biggest takeaway. And of course, I wish I had like a secret hack formula, like say this and you're going to get X amount of people. Like it just doesn't work like that. It's a really like a marathon. But that's at least how I see LinkedIn.
By the way, regarding this comment, in Startup Grind, we are hosting speakers. So each event is providing a huge amount of tips for startups and sometimes for wannabes and of course for those in their company building process in their journey. So I think what we are doing now in our new platform on Bevy, it's using more the AI. So we have the transcriptions, we have the automated video capturing, and I think what we can ask maybe our side product is to generate a LinkedIn post that related to the new content that we are providing every month. So we are working very hard to bring an amazing content, but only people that are watching YouTube channel or going to our event page, they can consume this content, and it's very small numbers. But what we can see right now, it's maybe to put to highlight the great tips and things that the speaker brought, also to tag their companies, and then to bring more traffic to our next events. Just to add, join us or join our community.
Idea. But I think that's an important clarification of how I would approach, sharing what you guys are doing. Also, like all behind the scenes, you guys are doing so many events. Like, what does it look behind the scenes? How do you like the organization, that not only the end product, but like, I would love to hear how you guys manage to do 80 events in a week. Like, it's crazy stuff happening. Like, just give people an inside look as to how you guys building all of this stuff. I think people really want to see that, and that drives a lot of attention and value.
What's your take on like video versus like written content?
First, I think LinkedIn is it's good that it allows you to do both or one of the, because let's say TikTok, like I don't use it, but I've never posted because I struggle with video, right? I prefer LinkedIn text, but you can play with different formats. That's the first thing, I think. And I like the fact that still the text-based format is the most important format on LinkedIn. I think text and ideas still have a place on our world, and not everything should be video. And that content, that text-based, again, format does well. But video, it's definitely the format of today, right? So a lot of people like to consume content on video. Also, if done properly, which is harder, video has more impact, right? It's a really good way to show your personality, who you are, which is harder with words. So I think it depends on the story, depends on you, depends on what you enjoy. I think it's good to explore with both or to try one or the other, but both formats can work really well on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
It's another feature for G to add is to take the video and to create shorts for LinkedIn and to upload it automatically and to create a post after the event.
Oh yeah, it would be so great to have just like an automated workflow through LinkedIn.
I have to actually leave soon because my little one is sick and she's crying on the back. But first of all, thanks for having me, Guille, Mappy, and team, Shahar as well. Hopefully this is helpful. We'd love to do another one at some point, maybe with, let's see, explore different things. But I'm a bit biased, but you should definitely do more on LinkedIn to promote Startup Grind, because I think you guys are doing some amazing stuff and so many opportunities to really showcase those things.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
share your profile once again through the chat so everyone's able to follow you. And
legend.
you
Thank you all. Thanks for the questions, for being engaging. This was fun, and big fan of Startup Grind.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And we're gonna keep on doing these workshops every 3 months. So please make your suggestions for the next topic. We will be happy to host more professionals as Daniel's joining us and more experts being part of the Startup Grind family. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the
Let's
next
bring Reid Hoffman to help us to create our
Let
twin.
me
So
call
we can
him.
be
I'll call him. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye all. Ciao.
That could be
Bye-bye.
awesome.
Happy birthday, G.
Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you so much.
Hey, feliz cumpleaños, Guillermo. Felicidades, que la pasé bonito.
Bye.